What's up everybody, back with another Star video, and here we are going to talk about, is Jingliu too OP? Now we had a similar video with Heng, because Heng really is just absurdly broken. He has his issues where you could easily get caught out not being able to use his full blast. You can get caught out, not having an energy to ult and having this game issue. You can just run into a bunch of stuff, not being able to heal because, you don't have Luocha and you can't heal with Natasha or Bali, whatever it may be, right? Jingliu definitely has her issues as well. However, they're just really, really strong. So strong that people are fearing that the power creep is a bit too much. Now, it is a gacha game, and, if this is your first gacha game, they do this, right? You're going to have units that are insanely broken, and then next thing you know, right, time passes, they're okay, right? And then they're just not good anymore. It's just how it is, right? Everyone's favorite unit will eventually not be great. Now, Genshin has done a pretty good job at this. I never played Honkai 3rd, so I couldn't say anything about that. But Genshin's always been a somewhat good with that kind of stuff. Obviously, I've heard the horror stories of Abyss, and I've played a little bit of that to know that if you're running around with the basic 5 stars, you might have a little bit of difficulty, right? However, that means, obviously, when a character comes back, if they're a premium unit, you probably are going to be like, they're not that great. Which is a issue that Star Rail is now facing, because, why would I summon for... I'm going to use Yanqing just because he's a decent example, even though I know he's a normal 5-star. But if you have a Yanqing banner, right, and you aren't attached to the character, why would you summon for him over Jingliu? Like, maybe you like him more, right? If you like them both equally, right, there is no reason to summon for the character who does less damage. If they have the same role, you're not going to summon for them, right? For example, right? Zaylee, really, really OP, right? If they release a hunt character who does somewhat similar stuff to what she does, because she has kind of a unique thing, right? But does more damage, and you like them equally, there is no point to summon for Zaylee because you could rather just get the other character who does better. Right? If you have Jingyun, you'd probably use him over Himiko. I know there's some differences, right? Every character is somewhat unique in their own way, which is really nice, and that's where you can kind of get away with using the quote-unquote weaker one, right? But you see what I mean, right? It's just going to become this thing of, oh, hey, Jingyun's rerunning, cool, why would I ever use him over, like, Jingliu, Heng, Blade, Kafka, for example, like all these other characters who basically do his job of do an AoE attack and do damage, right? I love the guy, right? But he's clearly on the smaller end of the tier list, or I guess the lower end of the tier list, what I meant to say. So that here is the issue, right? It was okay when it was just Heng, because if they drop Heng, right, and he's number 1 for a while, and then they release characters that are on the tier a little bit lower than the tier, or like just a tad above like every other character, right? Like if they drop her and she's like a little bit worse than Blade, or a little bit better than Blade, or just about the same as Blade, right? That's fine. They drop another DOT unit, they're a little bit worse than Kafka, alright, that's fine, right? They drop another character who, let's say, is like a healer Luocha, right? And they're about the same, right? That's fine, right? We haven't veered too far off, right? You'd use them for whatever different purpose they have, and you'd be good. That's not quite so the case anymore, now that there is a second character in her. Now, to be fair, I don't take the beta damage and stuff with too much of a grain of salt, right? Or, I totally butchered that, but you get what I mean, right? Just because they could change it, like they just insanely buffed her, right? They could tweak it again for the official release, but since we're getting really, really close, right? They could probably throw like 1 or 2 more changes, but if she stays the exact same, you now have 2 characters who are just way better than everybody else. And another issue is they're not single targets, so it's not like, okay, yeah, sure, they only hit 1% at a time, so they struggle against AoE. No, they hit AoE, so they got you covered on that front. They can hit really hard single target and AoE, pretty much ruining the whole, like, hunt, single target, Erosion, AoE. Destruction kind of just like fills the niche of both of those, and the fact that the 2 so-and-so best characters in the game, we'll see when she comes out, right, are both destruction, kind of just make it so it's like, why would I ever use hunt or Erosion? we have these two characters, right? Now obviously not everyone is going to get these characters, which is another issue, right? You could unfortunately just not get them, not get lucky enough, and you just don't get the characters, and then you're stuck with the older characters. Now that hasn't been a huge issue yet, but Don Heng is clearly favored in the new Swarm game mode. The new path is extremely Don Heng friendly. Like, it almost seems like it was meant for him. Like, someone in the dev team definitely was like, all right, boom, here's Don Heng. He likes basic attacks, using a lot of skill points. All right, now we have to come up with a new path. All right, make it give you skill points and make it do more damage for basic attacks. Like, come on, right? So it's clear they want you to use Don Heng to some extent to have an easier time. Now, he just also happens to be like the best unit in the game when that came out. But if they start targeting these units, like, oh, the next event will be really good for her, right? Or they drop a third character and they're like Don Heng level or Jingliu level or just like slightly worse, right? And then they feature the new event and it's like, oh, this character is, let's say, like follow-up attack based, right? And it's like every time you do a follow-up attack, insta-kill every enemy or something. You get what I mean, right? Some crazy like criteria added to it. Then it's clear that, oh, if you have a new character, you're going to be chilling. Or, you know, and, oh, I'm struggling with it because I don't have the character. Thankfully, I have Don Heng or Jingliu, who's so OP that they can clear it without these like extra additions, right? Then you're just getting it to the point where we only have the top tier characters that are clearing events, and if you don't have them, you're just going to insanely struggle, even if you do have them both, right? Now, obviously, it hasn't gotten to that point, but it's kind of like a snowball effect of release a broken character, extremely good. All right, no one's gonna summon unless we make them as strong. Jingliu comes out, bam, next character after her, and then we just keep going, and eventually Don Heng is going to be bad, right? He's going to be like, oh, why would I use Don Heng when I have a character who does what he does but doesn't use skill points, you know? It's a little rough, right? Now, I am a big fan of Jingliu, so it's not like I'm making this video just to be like, oh, she's terrible, please nerf her. I'm just saying, I will summon, right? She looks sick, you know, design-wise, character-wise. I like the ice type, all that stuff, but I'm hoping that we don't continue to see this effect. Just make these two characters like the best units in the game for the next like couple months at least. Like, give us like 4 or 5 characters that are just like around the same as everybody else, or maybe slightly worse than these, and I think it'll be okay. But if we keep jumping, like if she comes out and she's better than Don Heng, I'm gonna be very concerned. I don't think she will be, because it's kind of just like transform, nuke, do a bunch of damage, and you're golden. But if there's some issue and she's like Don Heng ×2, then we're gonna have problems. But anyway, that'll pretty much be it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think she's too OP? Do you think they should nerf her to kind of keep the balance of the game going? Do you think she's fine how she was? Do you think she's fine now? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next Honkai Star Rail video. Also, best of luck on your Swarm event runs. It's kind of been kicking my butt lately, so wishing everyone the same luck that I'm wishing myself.